So I want to talk this morning about how Reiki impacts stress on the body. So a lot of us are experiencing stress. It's pretty much a standard in our lives these days. And something that happens with stress that maybe not everyone knows about is that when your body's in a state of stress, it moves into what's called the sympathetic nervous system. And when that happens, it's the equivalent of back in the olden days of somebody thinking that a lion or a tiger was going to eat them and that they needed to run for their lives. Literally, it's what we know as the fight or flight response. And so what's happened as we've evolved is we've evolved to experience stress in the form of this really now or never, do or die, life or death situation, but it will be instigated by just having too many emails in our inbox or having a fight with our partner, opposed to being like a true life or death situation. So back in the day when it was the lion or the tiger going to eat us, we would have a response in our body, a stress response that would cause a whole bunch of hormones to kick in, like adrenaline, which would mean that we could run faster and get away from the danger. And then when we were away from the danger, our body would rest, the adrenaline would subside, and we would return back to that balance. What has happened over the course of time is that we have built for ourselves a life that doesn't turn off. So the threat, what is the nowadays lion, doesn't go away. So the adrenaline hits peaked, and so our body's also now producing cortisol, which is like a long running stress hormone. Those things are happening in our body. When we're in a fight or flight response, what also happens is our body does this amazing thing where it shuts down the parts of the body that are not priority, because the priority is we need to get oxygen to the muscles and we need to run, like we need to get out of there. So when we're doing that, our digestive system is suppressed, parts of our brain even shut down when we're in this fight or flight response, and our body doesn't function in the same way because it has this ultimate priority of keeping us alive from this perceived threat. So that would be fine if we were just trying to run away from something that was trying to eat us. However, our emails are not trying to eat us. Our partner is not trying to eat us. What's happening for us is this long-term stress that, when it's unchecked, it's really unhealthy for the body, because you can imagine the long-term effect of your digestive system not working properly means that you have all kinds of issues. You might have irritable bowel syndrome, other irritations, or just kind of your body's not working in the way that it should be for your optimal health. But you also can find that you get this like cloudiness of thinking where you can't get clarity. And so I bring this up because a lot of people come to me for a Reiki when they're feeling really overwhelmed, they're feeling stressed, they want some help with their decision-making processes. So they might be feeling like they're stuck in the middle of a big decision and they're not quite sure what to do, or they can't figure out why they can't get clarity around it. And so when someone comes to me for a Reiki, what happens is you get on the table and your body is able to truly drop into a state of safety. And so that's the equivalent of your body thinking, okay, the lion's gone. Like, I'm safe. It's no longer a threat to me. I'm no longer concerned for my life. I'm not going to be eaten. And so when you're having the Reiki and your body is able to go into that parasympathetic nervous system, it's able to feel safe. When it feels safe, it then starts to do all the restoring, the repair of the body. So the bits that have been suppressed while we had this threat going on, like we have to deal with you later, now's the opportunity for our body to get in there and to be able to repair the things that need repair. And that can be on a physical level and also on an emotional level. So a lot of people find when they come and have a Reiki with me, that their stomach goes crazy in the middle of the session. And often they'll be like, afterwards, sorry, did you hear my stomach? It was going crazy. And I always see that as such a great sign, because what's happening is the body is relaxing and the systems of the body that need to come back into balance are able to. So that's a great sign to me that someone's body has really dropped into that safety and really dropped into that rest and repair state, because their digestive system is able to turn back on and go, geez, we've got some work to do. People will often then have that clearness of thought where it's like, oh, I don't feel so overwhelmed. I don't feel like the things that I thought were a massive issue and completely unmanageable and overwhelming, I'm not feeling quite so overwhelmed by them now. I'm actually feeling a little more in control of things. I'm able to see the bigger perspective. And this happens because you're in an environment that I've created for you that allows you to feel safe. You're putting yourself in a space that is nurturing and conducive to a rest and repair environment. But then the Reiki itself, the Reiki energy, is actually giving you that same message through your body. So if you can imagine that the Reiki energy that we receive, it's like being connected to the mothership. It's like the umbilical cord from baby to mother. You're connecting more deeply to that life source. And when you imagine it in that way, you can see how that would allow you to feel safe. When we know that we are deeply and constantly connected to that life force energy, when we can imagine that kind of, rather than an umbilical cord that's coming from our tummy into the mother, if we could imagine it from our head to the universe connecting us in. We know that we've always got that lifeline. We know that we are always supported. And through that, our body is able to say, all right, let's turn the alarms off. Let's kind of downgrade the emergency situation. Let's turn off the code red. Let's go back to doing some of the basic housekeeping that we need for this human being to be healthy and to be living their optimal life. So that's why it's such a great tool, Reiki, to use when you are feeling stressed. Because a lot of the time when we're stressed, we're not able to think clearly, and the reason we're not able to think clearly is because we've actually shut down some of our brain function due to the perceived threat. So you need to get yourself out of that state. You need to remove yourself out of that sympathetic nervous system response and into the parasympathetic, where you're able to do the things that you need to do, and you're able to get back that clarity of thought. Like, it's not just I think I feel more clear thinking now. Actually, physiologically, you are more clear thinking because you've actually restored function to that part of your body. Similarly, with your digestive system, you've actually restored function. So coming in and having a Reiki is such a great way to do that. But I thought it was really worth sharing, what's going on that physiological level, because sometimes people they might be wary of things like Reiki or other alternative healing modalities because they don't really understand what's going on. And if you don't have a lot of experience, I guess, with energy work and with spiritual connection or those kinds of things, you might think, oh, this is not for me. It doesn't, that's not really my vibe, this whole energy thing. I don't know, I'm just a person. Like, I don't want to get too in my head about that stuff. And that's fine. That's why I think it's really important to let people know that it's not just what we perceive on this kind of energetic level. It's actually really physical as well, what's happening, and it's allowing us to activate the body. So if you can imagine that the Reiki energy is actually coming through and it's turning stuff back on, or when we go into that rest and repair, we're actually able to let that energy flow in. And if you've got a dodgy knee, or you are holding on to some emotional stuff that's causing other physical symptoms in your body, you're giving yourself the best chance to be able to release that stuff and get back to health, accompanied with just feeling really nice and nurtured and safe and supported and loved. So it's a win-win as far as I can see. and it's something that I've had great, obviously myself, because I love Reiki, but I've had really great results with. So yeah, that's my little share for today. Please make sure that you pop in any like questions or comments you have, because I love having conversations about this stuff, even your own experience or anything that you aren't really clear about, that you want me to clarify for you. Just pop it in, even if you're watching this as a replay, because it helps me to figure out what I can share with you guys when you're letting me know what you think or what you want to know. So have a beautiful day, and I will speak to you later. Bye.